Okay, I have a scenario for you. It's, let's say, 2:00 p.m., you're in the zone, you're coding, you're writing, whatever it is, deep work.
Yep, headphones on.
And then you get that Slack notification.
Or-
Or, even worse, someone physically taps you on the shoulder.
The dreaded tap.
And they say, hey, can we chat?
Oh, instant anxiety.
Right, and then it begins.
Yeah.
They just start talking. They're giving you backstory. They're talking about dates. They're mentioning people you vaguely know from accounting.
Uh-huh.
And 5 minutes go by. You are nodding, you're smiling, but inside, your brain's just screaming one question.
What do you want?
Yes, what do you want from me?
Is the building on fire? Are you firing me? Do you just, I don't know, need a stapler?
It is the universal workplace torture, being trapped in a conversation where you have no idea where the finish line is.
We have all been the victim of that. And, if we're being honest, we've probably all been the perpetrator, too.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure I've done it. But why is it so hard to just get to the point?
That is the million-dollar question. And that's exactly what we are unpacking today. We're doing a deep dive into the first minute, how to start conversations that get results, by Chris Fenning.
And just to set the stage, this isn't a book about public speaking, is it? We're not talking about giving a big presentation.
No, not at all. This is about the unglamorous, everyday communication that actually runs a business.
The hallway chats.
The hallway chats, the quick updates, the emails, the stuff that makes up the bulk of our day. And Fenning argues that these little micro-interactions, that's where careers are made or broken.
That feels like a lot of pressure for a quick chat by the coffee machine.
It does, but think about it. If you can't articulate what you need clearly, you're not just wasting time, you're actually damaging your professional brand.
So let's get into it. The book is called The First Minute. Is it like literal minute?
It's surprisingly specific. He isn't talking about the, hey, how was your weekend part. He's talking about the exact moment the conversation shifts from personal to professional.
Ah, the gear shift.
That's the first minute. And his argument is if you don't nail that transition, you lose your audience right there.
I want to dig into the why on that. Because I feel like when I ramble, it's because I'm trying to be thorough. I'm trying to give you all the context so I don't look like I'm unprepared.
And that's the psychology of it, right?
Yeah.
We feel this need to prove we've done the work. We think, if I show you all the data I looked at, you'll trust my conclusion. But the listener, they don't want the beta yet. They just want the headline.
They want to know if they even need to pay attention.
Precisely. And there is a stat in the research that, honestly, I found terrifying. It's called the repair ratio. Did you catch that part?
I saw the term, but the number just seemed impossibly high. What was it again?
It's 8.
8.
If you make a bad first impression in a conversation, if you're vague or confusing or just waste someone's time, it takes 8 positive interactions to reverse that one negative impression.
That seems so unfair. 8 times. Why is the penalty so high?
Well, it's cognitive bias. Once someone labels you as the person who wastes my time or the disorganized one, their brain starts looking for evidence to confirm that label. You have to overwhelmingly prove them wrong to break that filter.
So every time I send my boss a wall of text on Slack, I'm digging a hole I have to climb out of 8 times.
Essentially, yes. It's like a credit score. Really hard to build, very easy to tank.
Okay, that is sufficiently scary. So let's stop digging holes. The book has a toolkit for this, and the first big concept is framing.
Framing is the foundation. It's everything.
Now, when I hear framing, my mind goes to, like, manipulation, a bit of spin. Is that what we're talking about?
Not in this context, no. Here, framing is about orientation. It's about handing the other person a map before you start driving. Fenning breaks it down into 3 specific components: context, intent, and key message.
Okay, let's walk through those. Context seems obvious enough.
Yeah.
This is about the project.
You'd think it's obvious, but how often do people just start talking? Hey, so the vendor came back with the quote. You're left thinking, which vendor, which project? Context is just answering the question. What is the topic?
Okay, easy enough. But the second one, intent. I think that's where I personally struggle.
Intent is answering. What do I need you to do with this information?
See, that's where I get stuck. If I walk up to a senior leader and say, I need you to make a decision, it feels, I don't know, aggressive, a little bossy. I usually try to soften it by just sharing information and hoping they figure out they need to decide.
And that is exactly where the confusion happens, because if you just share info, the leader is sitting there thinking, nice update, thanks, while you're standing there waiting for a signature.
And then I leave frustrated because I didn't get what I wanted.
Exactly. Stating your intent isn't rude. It's helpful. It tells their brain which mode to be in. I need a decision tells them to critique and decide. I'm just giving an update tells them to just listen and file it away. You're reducing their cognitive load.
So clarity is actually a form of kindness.
That is a great way to put it, yes.
And the third piece, key message.
The headline, the so what. You know, if you were writing a news article, you wouldn't put the most important fact in the last paragraph. You put it right up top.
So putting it all together, the book had that horror story about the project manager.
Yep.
The guy who goes to his stakeholder and just talks for 10 minutes straight.
Mm-hmm.
All history, background, vendor issues.
And the stakeholders just listening, probably checking their watch, thinking about lunch.
And then finally, 10 minutes in, he mentions that because of all this, the project is going to miss its deadline and they need an emergency budget.
It's a disaster.
Because for 10 minutes, the stakeholder thought this was just a casual update.
Mm-hmm.
If that project manager had framed it, how would that have sounded?
It would sound something like this. Regarding the Alpha project, that's context. I need your help to approve an emergency budget. That's intent. The main vendor has pulled out, and we are at risk of missing the launch. That's the key message.
Okay. That is stark and really different.
And how long did that take?
I don't know, 10 seconds? Maybe.
That's the 15-second rule Fenning talks about. You should be able to deliver that entire frame in under 15 seconds.
15 seconds.
Oh.
That feels incredibly fast. If I'm dealing with something really complex, like a legal compliance issue with a ton of nuance, can I really boil that down to 15 seconds without sounding dismissive?
You absolutely can, because you aren't explaining the problem in 15 seconds. You're just explaining what the conversation is about. You're setting the stage. You're just saying, this is a complex legal issue about the new privacy laws. Context. I need your guidance on a risk intent, because we might be out of compliance message. Now you have their full attention to dive into the nuance.
I see. So I'm not skipping the details. I'm just buying the ticket to tell the story.
Correct. You're ensuring they're listening to the details through the right lens.
Okay, that makes sense. But here's another place I fail. What if I have 3 things to talk about? I usually just dump a laundry list on people. Hey, about the budget, and also, can you sign this? And oh, did you see the email about lunch?
The kitchen sink approach. Fenning warns against this. He calls it mixing topics.
But it's efficient. I'm killing 3 birds with 1 stone.
But you're also likely killing the listener's attention span. The advice here is really strict. Separate the frames, handle the budget, finish it, then say, okay, next topic. Regarding the holiday party.
You have to close the tab before opening a new one.
Otherwise, they're still thinking about the budget numbers while you're talking about taco catering.
Okay, so we framed the conversation. We've hooked them. Now we have to deliver the actual content, the meat. And this is where the book introduces a tool called GPS.
Right, GPS. Goal, problem, solution.
Now, I've seen a lot of acronyms in business books. SMART goals, SWOT analysis. Is this just another one to throw on the pile?
I think this one really earns its keep, specifically for what Fenning calls sophisticated subjects.
Which means complex, messy work stuff.
Exactly. When things are complicated, our tendency is to explain the history. How did we get here? We want to sort of vindicate ourselves. GPS forces you to focus on the future.
Let's try to apply this because the examples in books are always so neat. Let's take a real mess, let's say, a marketing campaign.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, scenario. We launched a campaign. It's underperforming. We're burning cash. We need to pivot, but that costs money we don't have. My usual panic ramble would be to walk into your office and say, hey, so you know the Q3 ads? Well, the agency promised us a $10 CPA, but the market shifted and Facebook changed their algorithm again, which they always do. And now we're seeing costs spike. And I tried to call the rep, but he's on vacation.
Okay, stop. I'm already stressed, and I have no idea what you want from me. You're just dragging me through the mud of the past.
It felt good to get it off my chest, though.
But it didn't solve the problem. Now, look at that same mess through the GPS lens. Goal. What are we trying to achieve? Problem. What is in the way? Solution. What do we do?
Okay, let me try to translate my panic. So, goal. We need to hit our Q3 lead targets. Problem. The current ad creative is fatiguing and our costs have doubled. Solution. I propose we pause the Facebook spend and move that budget to LinkedIn for the next 2 weeks.
See the difference?
It's night and day. The panic is gone.
And notice what's missing. You didn't talk about the agency rep being on vacation. You didn't complain about the algorithm. You focused entirely on, here's where we want to go, here's the rock in the road, and here's how we step around it.
It makes you sound in control, even when things are bad.
That's the key. Even when the news is bad, The structure makes you look like a leader. You aren't just reporting the fire, you're bringing the extinguisher.
So GPS goal first, not history first.
Always goal first. It anchors the whole conversation in a positive, forward-looking outcome.
I can see how that works. But I want to challenge you on something. We've talked about framing. We've talked about GPS. This is all very structured, very logical.
Yes, it is.
Doesn't it sound a little robotic? If I talk to my work bestie like this, are they going to think I've been replaced by an AI?
It's a valid concern. We worry that structure kills connection.
Yeah.
We think organic conversation needs to be, meandering. But think about it from the listener's perspective. If I come to you with an unstructured mess, I'm forcing you to do all the heavy lifting. You have to sort through my words, figure out what matters, and guess what I need from you. That's exhausting.
That's true. I usually just zone out when people do that to me.
But if I use structure, I'm doing the work for you. I'm serving it up on a platter. It's not robotic, it's respectful.
So you're saying I can still be warm, I can still smile, I can have a personality, but the skeleton of what I'm saying should be rigid.
Exactly. Structure doesn't replace empathy, it supports it.
Hmm.
You can be a warm, funny, empathetic person who also happens to make their point in 30 seconds. That's the ultimate combo.
The efficient human. I like that. Now, there is one specific phrase that the book targets as public enemy number one. And I use this phrase every single day.
Let me guess. Do you have a minute?
Got a minute. Have a second. I say it constantly. I think I'm being polite. I'm asking for permission.
But are you really asking for a minute?
No, it's never, ever a minute.
And that's why it's a problem. It's a lie. When you ask, do you have a minute, and then you take 10, you're stealing time. You create what's called a time debt. The listener's sitting there thinking, okay, surely they're almost done. Surely now.
And they stop listening because they're just waiting for me to leave so they can get back to work.
Right. So the book suggests a time check. Be honest. If it's going to take 5 minutes, say, do you have 5 minutes?
But here's my fear, and I think a lot of listeners will relate to this. If I ask, do you have 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I'm afraid they're going to say no.
They might, and that's okay.
And that feels like rejection. Got a minute? Feels so low stakes. Do you have 10 minutes? Feels like a meeting request that can be denied.
But think about the alternative. If they don't have 10 minutes and you trap them in a 10-minute conversation anyway, are they actually listening to you?
No, they're checking their email over my shoulder.
Exactly. They are resentful and distracted. It is much better to get a no, come back at 3.0 than to talk to a brick wall.
It's a good reframe. A no now is better than a bad conversation.
And there's a second part to this, which Fenning calls the validation checkpoint. This is kind of an advanced move.
Ooh, advanced moves.
This happens after you've framed the conversation. So you've done your context, intent, message. I need to discuss the budget for the alpha project.
Okay.
Before you dive into the GPS, you stop and you ask a validation question.
Like what?
Is now a good time? Or even better, are you the right person for this decision?
Oh, checking if I'm even in the right room. I've done that.
It gives them an exit ramp.
Yeah.
How many times have you listened to someone explain a problem for 10 minutes
Yeah.
only to say, dude, I work in HR, you need to talk to IT?
Painful. For everyone involved.
Yeah.
So the validation checkpoint saves everybody's time.
It confirms you have the right audience and the right attention span before you deliver the payload.
It really seems like this whole book is just about consent.
In a way, yes. Professional consent. Getting permission to use someone's brain power.
I love that. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground here. We've got the repair ratio, framing, the 15-second rule, GPS, and the time check. If a listener wants to try this tomorrow, just one thing, where should they start?
I would say start with the frame. Just that first 15 seconds before you send that next Slack message or walk over to that desk, just take a breath and ask yourself, what is the context? What is my intent? And what is the headline?
And write it down if you have to.
Absolutely. Especially for emails. If your email is 5 paragraphs long, go back and just write a frame at the very top. TLDR, I need approval on X by Y date.
That alone would probably save the corporate world millions of hours a year.
It really would. I mean, think about it.
I want to leave the listener with a challenge. We talked about how we all love to dwell on the past, the history lesson.
The comfort zone of context, yeah.
Right. So here is the challenge. For the rest of the day, just observe your own conversations or your emails and ask yourself, what is the ratio of past to future?
That is a confronting question.
How many sentences did you spend explaining how the problem started versus how many sentences you spent proposing how to fix it?
And if you're like most people, it's probably 80% past, 20% future.
We want to flip that.
We want 20% past, that's the problem, and 80% future. That's the goal and the solution.
That is the goal. Use the GPS. Don't be a history teacher. Be a problem solver.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for diving in with us today. Now, go frame your day.
See you next time.